As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Do we have a ticket?
No tickets today. We're going to get right into it because we are so jam-packed busy. But if you have a winning ticket, make sure you tweet it at us. We'll get back to featuring those next week on the show. We mentioned Joe Flacco, and Jay, he has put up some astronomical numbers, good and bad, in his first 3 starts.
Yeah.
A lot of turnovers, a lot of touchdowns. So I want to start with this question. At this stage of his career, is it possible for Joe Flacco to play 4 quarters of turnover-free football, or are the turnovers just part of the experiment and the experience of 38-year-old Joe Flacco?
You guys?
I think it's the way the Browns are playing right now with an inability to run, and maybe that's going to be helped because Posick did practice yesterday, and I read something this morning that Bitonio's going to try to go even though he hasn't practiced this week. And if they have both of those guys, I would think they'll have a better chance of being able to run at least a little more. But I think, hopefully not 3 interceptions, but I think Joe Flacco, he's in his career, especially in his recent career, he's turned the ball over a lot. That's part of what you're going to get when you have an older quarterback who's still got a good arm and he's a gunslinger. He's not afraid to take a chance. Bernie talked about this eloquently yesterday. He said, listen, the guy's not scared to throw that 3rd pick, the 4th pick. He's going to keep making those throws. Well, he's going to keep making those throws. Occasionally they're going to go to the other team. So I think that's part of the mix that they have to deal with him as quarterback right now.
Did you guys see the clip this week of Kevin on the sideline on one of the interceptions? It was said Tillman's fault. Basically.
It was the first interception.
Yep.
And I think that with young receivers, obviously not Amari, but with some of these young receivers, this is going to happen too, where it's not. It looks like it's Joe's fault. It's not on Joe.
Yeah.
If guys running the wrong route or a guy gets picked or whatever, we've seen that a couple times where he's thrown interceptions on plays that weren't his fault. So when you combine that with what Bull just said, because I agree 100% with everything Bull just said, yeah, he's going to turn the ball over. You're still going to have turnovers. Yep. The Browns have survived all year playing football that we've said for decades you can't win this way.
Right. It's a dangerous game they play.
Oh, it is. Yeah. For sure. And at some point, it's probably we're going to go, well, it finally caught up with them.
Yeah, you're right.
But I just think that this is, they're pot committed now. This is how they're going to play.
Yep.
And the throw that he made to Amari on that incredible touchdown throw that when it left his hands, I thought was going to get picked. You don't get that throw without some of the other throws.
Bernie used that example.
Exactly.
Did he really?
He said the exact same thing. He said Gary Danielson told him early in his career, you better stop being pick immune. You're going to throw picks. You've got an arm to make a lot of throws. If you start making picks and you lose your courage, was the word Bernie used, then you become check down Charlie.
Right.
You're going nowhere that way.
He said the great quarterbacks are not afraid to throw 4 picks.
That's what he said. And then he went on to say what you just said, that throw to Amari never happens if he doesn't have the courage to come back from those picks.
Absolutely.
So kind of like Josh Allen, you take the good and you hope that the good far outweighs the bad. Brett Favre was like that.
Yep.
Peyton Manning early in his career was an interception machine.
Yeah.
And he had somebody very important in his ear, his dad, who played with a very, very bad franchise in the NFL that told him, you're going to throw picks. Just get used to it. It's part of the NFL.
Yep.
Do you think he can do it?
Of
4
course.
quarters without turning it over?
Yeah, but, that's something we all shoot for. We shoot for no turnovers, but when you're playing a game like this and you're throwing the football a lot, which we are throwing the ball more now because that's the best chance to give us the best chance to win, that's going to happen. Tim DeRuyter, who used to be my defensive coordinator at OU, he was at Texas A&M with Von Miller, Arizona, a couple other teams. We were really good at stopping the run, and we stopped the run all year. And then we came in one day, and the team threw up 400 or 500 yards on us in the air. And he came in and he said, the objective has changed. It's no longer stop the run. That's not our moniker. Stop what the hell they doing. That's our moniker right now. And so that just shows you that you have to pivot to what gives you the best chance to win. And right now, I've been a run-first guy. I've been a run-first guy when it was, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I was a run-first guy when the offensive line was healthy. But at this point, You ain't got none of the above. Letter D. You don't have Chubb, you don't have the offensive line, and you don't have the vision in the backs that you got right now that's starting. So my thing is, hey, you give yourself the best chance to win, and that is Joe Flacco throwing the football downfield. And there's some collateral damage with that, but you just live with it.
And real quick, every single week, I said when it was P.J. Walker, when it's DTR, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, because you didn't have the big playability.
Sure.
Flip side of that. Now
Yep.
you do
Yeah.
to sort of offset exactly what you were saying. If he throws a pick, well, he's going to come back with something a little bit better. So it's not as damaging. Nobody wants to turn the ball over, but it's not as damaging now as it felt like it was when it was DTR and P.J. Walker.
Yeah, I'm glad you went that way, because the way I was going to come at this, yeah, he's definitely going to throw turnovers. Just get used to it. It's part of Joe Flacco. It's part of why we love him. He's got the big arm. He's got courage and onions that we haven't seen in Cleveland in a very, very, very long time. The analogy I was going to use was all the other guys, DTR, not so much Deshaun Watson, but DTR and Phillip Rivers were using a shovel to dig out of their messes.
P.J. Walker.
P.J. Walker, who'd I say?
Phillip Rivers.
Boy,
We're
the
still
hell
in-
I'm talking Phillip Rivers.
we're still in
I
Chargers.
Confused for a second.
Because Tyvus calls him Phillip.
That's
So now
right.
he's become Phillip to me. P.J. Walker
Yeah.
was using a shovel to dig out of his mess.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco has a backhoe. He just waltzes in there with his backhoe, sticks that thing in the ground, and it's the pass to Amari Cooper. That can get you out of a previous interception. Also, he knows what he has on the sidelines when he's on the field. And that's a pretty damn good defense. That's a safety net for his interceptions. I don't want to put them in jeopardy. Now, last week he threw a pick six and another one that led to the 6-yard line or whatever it was.
Right.
That led to another touchdown. You can't make a habit of doing that.
Right.
But he knows I've got a defense that I trust. And because of that, I'm going to try to make throws that I wouldn't make if I had the 27th ranked defense.
Right.
So it's complementary football. It's having the backhoe arm to dig you out of whatever holes you might create. And I'm okay with those turnovers as long as the TD number has to be bigger than the INT number. We can't have 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. It's got to be 3 touchdowns, 1 or 2 interceptions.
Do you agree that the ceiling, though, if the Browns want to get to the Super Bowl, because we've been talking about this a while, the ceiling is the no turnovers in the playoffs? Because I think to beat one of these really good teams, you're going to have a game where he plays really good.
But don't
and
you
does
change
not
I would
turnovers?
say
Do that?
limit the turnovers.
Yeah, because-
he can't have what Jay's talking about. They can still win games in the regular season when he has 2-3 turnovers,
Yeah.
I think. But when you're playing the better teams, no. Like, he
Yeah.
can still have 1 pick in a playoff game.
If you're
and
on the
you get
road
away
in
with
Kansas
that.
City,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but-
can't.
Yeah.
You give Kansas City 2 short fields.
yeah.
It's
And,
done.
and again, not, as you said, Jay, not all picks are equal. If I throw a pick at the 30-yard at the Chiefs' 30-yard line and they have started drive at the 30, okay, that's not the end of the world. But if I'm throwing a pick 6, I mean that's a disaster.
Yeah,
in a
bad,
big game.
bad. Can't happen.
By the
But-
way, speaking of what you're saying about him knowing he has the defense, Mike, can you put up that stat I texted you right before the show?
Yeah, 1 sec.
Because this stat, not a surprise stat, but it was kind of, it was a good one here. According to PFF Browns, the Cleveland Browns defense has allowed points on just 45 of 186 drives. That's 24%. So they're giving up points 1 out of 4 drives, essentially. The average in the league is 35.
That's better than 1 out of 3 is the league average.
Right.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about that? You guys know how these stats work. With 32 teams, typically the separation between 1, 2, and 3 is 1/10 of a percentage point, maybe a percentage point. They're 11 percentage points better than the league average.
Yeah.
That is a rare defense, guys.
And how many short fields has the offense put them in
Right.
position?
Well, I can
They're
think-
still getting dinged for that stat.
yes, they are. When they start a drive on the 11 or whatever,
It was the goal line.
it was. Yeah, I mean, okay, that
Start on
counts
the 1
against
yard
them.
line.
Yeah.
Literally the 1 yard
That
line.
counts against them.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
and there've
you
been
know,
a few of those short field.
I can
scores.
think of a bunch of short fields that the offense has given the defense to work with this
Yeah,
year.
that
I
number
would
could
love
be
to,
even better.
Mike, I would love to know a stat of how many touchdowns the Browns have defenses given up where the other team had to go more than 65 yards compared to other teams. That's something we should try to
I
find.
will try
don't know
to
if
look
you have
that
get
up.
in the
That would be
individual
really hard to
boxes
find. I'd be stunned if the
Even
Browns weren't
50.
number 1 by a lot.
Even 50.
So I'll
Yeah,
tell you,
true.
I
I
did
think
just
you're
find
right,
this
Paul.
though, Bull. So I found where they got that stat. The Browns have only allowed scoring drives on 24.2%. The Chiefs are second at 28.4.
Okay, 4
You said the
percentage
league
points.
average was 35%. They're 11 points better. So, if you
So
go
in
to-
baseball terms, that would be if you had a 280 batting average as a team,
Yeah.
and the number 2 team batting average was 240.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
I mean, when you put it into those terms,
Yeah.
that's a huge gap.
But Jay, here's what I want to point out. So they were 11 points better than league average, right?
Okay.
11 points worse than league average is dead last in the NFL, 46%. So they are double.
Wow.
It's the Commanders
Who
at
is that?
46.5%. Washington.
I think the
that's
only
crazy.
teams that can compete with the Browns defensively are Baltimore and San Francisco. I think the Browns are the best. I think those teams are close. I don't think anybody else is close.
Baltimore's third in that percentage, by the way.
Where's San Fran?
28%. San Francisco's ninth at 31%.
Where's Philly?
Surprised by that.
Philly would be Philly.
Philly struggle a little bit.
That far down. I didn't think they'd be
They
that far
struggle.
down.
28th.
Wow.
40%.
They struggle.
Holy cow.
Wow. They're playing terrible football right now.
McNuggets, I'm gonna tell you this. You might enjoy this analogy. Like, I think the reason the Browns are head and shoulders above the rest of those teams in those particular categories is remember Nolan Richardson and 40 Minutes of Hell?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how he used to just press you and press you and press
Yep.
you, and eventually you just broke. When you look at the Cleveland Browns, they offer a version of that. They press cover you with 3 great corners. Their win percentage is in the 60s. And they
3 of the top 4 win percentages in the league.
in the league. You have the best pass rusher, and on top of that, you have the ability with some of the creative stuff that you do to get home, and you got linebackers like JOK who are faster than anybody the lineman can block. When you pressure somebody and you don't give up anything, on first down, they're looking to come get you. It isn't like, hey, just let's play some base defense and give them 3. No, they're trying to hit you for losses. And when you get to second, 13, second and 14, third and 10, it's a wrap. It's done now because now we're going to press you and we're going to get home with Myles Garrett, who's getting there faster than anybody. So it's almost like a constant pressure that you always deal with.
I like that analogy.
By the time you get to the fourth quarter, they're going to give you something.
I like that. 40 Minutes of Hell.
Remember the movie Remember the Titans? I'm sure everybody's
Yep.
seen that movie. Remember they were playing that coach who's a racist and the referees were kind of cheating against him.
Yeah.
And then the white assistant coach, Coach Yost, he brings the defense together. He's like, I don't want to see them get another yard in this game.
Yeah.
That's Jim Schwartz on the sideline.
Right.
It is.
From
It
the
really
get-go,
is.
too.
Yeah.
You're like, dang, Coach Schwartz, give him something on.
I want them to remember the night they played the Browns. Yeah.
We love it. Yeah, so, turnovers at a minimum. Try to keep them down. But I was upset last week with the second one and then the third one, and I'm like, you can't win that way.
Right.
Now, you can't make a habit of winning that way.
Yeah.
No.
You're not going to score
They have.
3 times in the fourth quarter
I know.
and hold the opposing defense to a bunch of 3 and outs as a rule. You can do that against some of the, like Bull said, some of the bottom rung teams, like the Bears and maybe the Texans even, without their starting quarterback. But when you get into the playoffs, those teams, when you make a mistake against those teams, they put their foot on your throat and they choke you out. They make you pay for those mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm with Bull. You can't eliminate the turnovers. Nobody's going into a game saying, it's okay, Joe. If you throw 3, that's okay. No one's saying that. But right now, no one's whispering in his ear, Joe, what are you trying to do?
Right.
You can't make that throw. No one's saying that now because they have seen him make that throw. Mm-hmm. And so you live with the good and you hope that it's better than the bad. And it's a little like Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been pick prone the last 2 years, but when you're throwing for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, you'll take some of that bad stuff.
Yep.